I mean, let us check out the slam fire though. Take a look at that! No jams at all. That's probably the smoothest shell ejecting experience that I've ever felt. I am 100% sure that this is probably by far the highest quality shell ejecting foam dart blaster that I've ever get myself on hand. Hello, what is up guys? I'm your host Gordon and welcome to another What Am I video, and what I got over here is something very exciting. This over here is a shell ejecting Nerf shotgun from the company XYL. Yes, which is the same company who made the very successful ARP9 gel blaster as well as the very successful XYL Unicorn. And this time around, they outdid themselves again. This over here is a shell ejecting foam dart blaster M870, the one without the buttstock over here, and the build quality of this blaster is magnificent. I mean, holy moly, the priming, everything feels perfectly balanced. I mean, look at the sound of the priming. Sounds very metalish. You know what I'm saying? It's like the sound of metal clashing on another metal. It sounds really nice though. I mean, seriously, that shell inserting is like buttery smooth. Same goes to the shell ejecting. Holy moly! And this is all thanks to Mac Potato for helping me to get this blaster for today's review. Mac Potato is a local Malaysia online foam dart blaster seller who sells rare, imported foam dart blaster just like this one. So if you guys are interested with one of these, all the necessary information will be provided in the description down below. In the box, we got the blaster itself, a shell holder, a leather shell holder, a lanyard, a sling, a pair of Picatinny rails, 12 mini darts, 10 half-length darts, 10 shells, and a manual. To install the lanyard, you will just have to align it with the hole and twist it in place. To install the shell holder, align it with the two holes at the left-hand side of the blaster, remove the two screws, align the shell holder, grab the included longer screws, and screw both of them in place. And next, you can slide in the shells just like so. To install the Picatinny rail at the front, align it with the holes and screw them in place. To install the leather shell holder at the palm grip, grab the included hex screw, align and position the leather shell holder just like so, and screw it tight. Bend over the leather shell holder to align it with the second hole and screw it in place. And this is how you put in the shells on the leather holder. The blaster comes with a half-length dart as well as a mini dart, which means that the blaster comes with two kind of shells. This is how you load in the mini darts, and this is how you load in the half-length darts. Next, load in the shells just like so, and you are good to go. And this is how the blaster looks like with everything installed. Okay, first look at the blaster. As you can see, the aesthetic of the blaster is definitely one of those M870 without the buttstock. I mean, holy moly, the moment when you hold the blaster on hand, there is some weight to it. And the build quality of this blaster is magnificent. XYL sure did exceeded my expectation again and again. The entire blaster is definitely made out of some very thick nylon. And of course, being XYL, there is definitely a lot of metal parts on this blaster over here. For example, the priming bar of this blaster looks super epic. It's like one of those brushed stainless steel. It looks very premium. The front Picatinny rail is of course made out of metal. I mean, look at the gate over here. It's made out of some really thick stainless steel. And the shell ejecting mechanism, half of it is actually made out of some pretty high quality metal as well. And not to mention that, I mean, take a look at this barrel over here. This front barrel, yes, only the front part is made out of some really thick aluminum. Yep, same goes to the shell storing tube as well. If you look into the shell storing tube, even the shell guiding pusher is made out of some really solid heavy metal. The trigger safety is all metal. I mean, even the lanyard holder here is made out of aluminum. I mean, wow, that's some attention to details. This blaster over here is a shorty boy. It doesn't really have a buttstock over here, but no worries. XYL provide full-blown customization for this blaster over here. By the time of this video, I don't think that it is available yet. There is actually two screws on both sides of the grip over here where you can actually remove them and change to a grip buttstock combo, just like the M870. But nevertheless, the grip of the blaster, very comfortable, but this blaster is very front heavy. Like when you try to hold it like single-handedly like that, well, after after quite some time, it feels kind of tiring though. And the trigger pull of the blaster, very comfortable and smooth. The blaster also comes with a safety, which is located at the left-hand side of the blaster where you press on it and it will prevent you from pulling the trigger. The Picatinny situation of this blaster is overwhelming. We got a whole roll of Picatinny rail on top of the blaster. Given that the blaster does not come with iron sight, it will require some eyeballing techniques for, you know, hitting the target. There is also a pair of Picatinny rail at the front of the blaster, which is made out of metal, and there is of course another Picatinny rail at the bottom of the blaster for maybe like the flashlight or a laser or something like that. We got a lanyard over here, which is removable if you're not a big fan of having like a lanyard behind the blaster. And at the front of the blaster, I think that this is actually kind of dangerous though. There is actually a pretty sharp part at the front of the blaster over here for, I'm not sure what kind of aesthetic it is for, just in case there's like a zombie apocalypse or something like that. Maybe this is for your, you know, melee weapon. And at the front of the blaster over here, there is a sling mounting point. And of course, one of my favorite part of the blaster is the shell holders. As you can see at the side of the blaster over here, the shell holders is absolutely amazing. I mean, holy moly, it looks really nice. And not to mention that the shells of these blasters, I mean, seriously, look at those Remington shells. Looks absolutely amazing. I mean, it is a combination of some pretty high quality plastic as well as aluminum. And when you actually hit the shells together, wow, that's some ASMR sound over here. Just like the previous XYL Unicorn, the blaster also comes with one of these dragon-like looking halfling darts over here, which I'm gonna test it out on the test later. And at the same time, it also comes with one of those mini darts that you usually use on one of those cheap Glock blasters, which is for your single shot as well as the scatter shot. Yes, you hear me right. This blaster comes with two kind of shells. One is of course the halfling dart shells, and of course the other shells is definitely for one of those mini dart shells, which you can either just put in one dart in there, or you can put in up to 3 darts in one shell to give you one of those shotgun effect. Oh yeah. And of course, the second favorite part of my blaster is definitely the leather shell holder at the grip of the blaster over here. Like, this is not just for aesthetic purposes. This is actually a functioning piece where it allows you to not slip away from the palm grip when you try to pump the blaster really fast. And speaking about pumping the blaster, we call it priming though. This blaster over here have slam fire. Take a look at that. You pull the trigger. Yeah, that is why this leather thing over here actually helps me to, you know, not slip away from the priming grip over here. And there's actually one very important thing that I have to tell you guys about this blaster over here, is that this blaster has probably the most comfortable, the most smoothest shell loading sensation that I've ever felt on one of these shell ejecting Nerf shotgun. The maximum capacity that this tube can hold over here is 5 shells, and then you can chamber one at the breech. So totally 6 shots. The priming of the blaster, very smooth. I'm pretty sure that with this kind of smooth priming, it does not really comes with a strong spring. And the shell ejecting though, very smooth. And the blaster also comes with some kind of a safety mechanism. Once you've already primed the blaster, you can't really pull the priming grip again. I mean, let us check out the slam fire though. Take a look at that. No jams at all. That's probably the smoothest shell ejecting experience that I've ever felt. So yep, I guess that's all of the quirks and features of this blaster over here. So of course, without further ado, let us go test the blaster out. Okay, we are back, guys. So the performance of the blaster is as expected because this blaster does not come with really strong spring over here, and as usual, usually these collector's items don't really comes with strong performance as well. The blast over here with half-length darts, it can fire from 53 FPS all the way to 59 FPS. Not a preferable number, but acceptable. You can definitely hit a target around 4 meters or something like that if you do a little bit of arcing and aiming. I think 5 meters is still okay. Accuracy of this blaster in 3 to 4 meters, definitely not an issue at all, but it is a different story if you use one of those tinier darts. The blaster can actually shoot from 76 FPS all the way to 86 FPS if you use one of those mini tiny darts. And hitting a target in 6 to 7 meters is definitely not an issue. Accuracy, pretty good. As for the scatter shot, you don't really get too much of a distance for that. 4 meters is as far as it can go. But surprisingly for the scatter shot, the accuracy is actually pretty acceptable. So far, operating this blaster, I did not encounter a single jams at all. You see, no matter how high quality of the blaster, sometimes you might encounter something like a snag when you try to, push the darts into the shell storing tube in here. But for this blaster, seriously guys, I did not encounter any snags at all when I try to push the shells into the shell storing tube. It is so smooth. No matter how hard you try to screw up your shell loading techniques over here, you will not encounter any snags or any blockage or any sorts of situation that prevents you from pushing the darts into the shell storing tube unless it is full. And not to mention that the shell ejecting, even in slam fire, there is zero jams at all. That alone is very impressive. Holy moly. And the most important thing, will this blaster pass the wall test? Absolutely yes. This blaster definitely passes the wall test with flying colors. So yep, surprisingly enough, this is a very simple blaster. That's all the quirks and features of this blaster over here. So if you guys like this video, feel free to smash the like button. I'll be posting video every Saturday and maybe once in a while on Wednesday. So do remember to click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. So yep, go ahead and check it out, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Adios, guys!